On Sunday morning, I woke up really early, took a shower, got ready and all that stuff, and went to J. Christopher's to go eat lunch with a bunch of people. There's just like a lot of authors and bloggers that we all just got together and had breakfast together at this great place in Atlanta, and that was the best strawberry waffle I've ever had, and that's topping Waffle House's waffles, so yeah, that's pretty good. But I guess anything in comparison to Waffle House is pretty good. So we walked around for a while, and my friend Vanya, I'll find a picture and put it in this video right here. She was the walking advertisement for a bunch of real cool witches. It had a bunch of cool people like Rachel Hawkins, Jackson Pearce, and Victoria Schwab, and they talked about how awesome their witches are and all that great stuff.
Their Witch isn't a retelling, it is an original fairy tale, but I wanted to kind of pay respect to those original folklores and fairy tales. So it spins from, it's definitely not a modern story, it's a timeless one. You're never really quite sure where the story is set, but you get some hints and kind of something to guide you, but it's definitely the witches of old, I will say.
In Sweet Lady Sophia it is a modernized version, so it is set nowish. But I didn't want so much to have people over cauldrons or flying broomsticks or with black cats. I wanted it to be sort of unclear, does she have powers or does she not have powers, or does she just think she has powers? So like when she makes the candy, she talks about some candy, you know, this is my mother always said this will give you courage. And you don't really know, does it actually do that, or does she just believe that it does that? But she has all of this sort of mysterious thing, all of these mysterious things happening to her, and it's never very clear if she's really running the show or if she's just a part of it.
I think with my witches, because I am sort of mostly dealing with really stories about teenage girls, so I was really interested in what happens when you give very ordinary teenage girls superpowers, and is there anything more terrifying on earth? And so yeah, my witches, like, and I liked the idea that maybe these girls, especially like the coven that springs up in the first book with Elodie, Anna, and Chasten, that these are normal girls, and they're almost like trying to, you know, make themselves this very traditional witch thing, because this is what we should do. We have witch powers, therefore we will make a coven and we will ride brooms, because that's what we do. So it's definitely like their own take on sort of the very traditional witchcraft, but yeah, with more lip gloss and stuff. So.
Stood in line and got those. I got a near witch back there. You probably can't see that, but I got that signed. I've already gotten Sweetly signed like a couple weeks ago, and so yeah. Then I went to what I'll call the Real Girl panel. It's, you know, contemporary fiction. It had people like Stephanie Perkins, who wrote Anna and the French Kiss, Terra McVoy, Jennifer Jabaley, and Elizabeth Eulberg, and she and I are named twins. And so it was cool to meet all of those awesome people, awesome ladies. So they talked about their Real Girl books and all those kind of amazing things.
But I'm just curious, like how, not being in high school right now, and you know, but what do you do to try to make sure that your writing stays pertinent to current contemporary teens? Yeah.
Whichever. I can start. I hate to say this to those of you in high school or haven't been in high school yet, but the scars you get in high school take a really long time to heal. Sorry. No, I remember really well being in high school, and I also read a lot of young adult fiction, which helps me remember about being in high school. And I remember being really young, and I was from a really small town in Wisconsin, and you're trying to figure out who you are, what do you want to be, your insecurities, like a lot of that stuff just doesn't go away. So I always try to remember what I was like.
I agree. I think, especially with contemporary YA right now, I really tried not to focus on teen slang or lingo or things like that. It just went to the heart of the matter that most teenagers, what do they really want? They want to find a place where they belong. Everyone wants to be accepted, whether it's within their peer group or by their family or by a boy. And all of those things don't change. And that's what I love. That's why if you pick up a really good book like from Judy Blume, it still resonates because it's those same issues in real life.
I don't think I ever grew up. Or should I say, I can rephrase that. I think I was as grown up as I would get as a teenager. Something that I remember very vividly from my teenage years was already feeling like an adult. Like I think a lot of times the media forgets the adult part of young adult, and knowing that all of those, I mean, it's that first time in your life where you have all of those big you are feeling everything that an adult feels, but it's just the first time, and that's what's special, and that's what draws me to it. But I think I just, you know, I had all these experiences as a teenager that were, you know, my teenagers were not easy, and a lot of young adult writers are the same way. We just kind of got caught up into it, and it's hard for us to let go because they were so crappy. And so I've always identified with teenagers still, like, I know what you're going through, oh my God, I'm so sorry, it gets better, I promise. And I just really still enjoy that teen dialogue, and you mentioned, you know, avoiding slang, and I think that's crucial. You can open up a book and tell right away whether the author is sincere to their audience or not, and a lot of times it comes down to like pop culture references or slang or whatever, and that's not what makes up a person. You know.
Word. No. Because we write realistic, I want to know how much of your experience do you put in your books? Because I know for my first book, I put a lot of my experiences in that, but now I'm working on like the draft of my fourth, and I really didn't have that exciting of a teenage year. So I'm just making stuff up now. But I'm just wondering how much you take from your experience.
Well, I did go to a French boarding school and fall in love with a beautiful English French-American boy, except the school was in Phoenix, and the boy was from southern Georgia, the middle line, so it was a little different. But I did fall in love as a teenager, and very, very deeply so, and I got married as a teenager. Don't tell your parents, it's okay. I got married as a teenager, and we just celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary. So I strongly believe in that, like that powerful teenage love, and like that totally came out, and so I think that's really why I write. You know, so far what's come out of me have been these really powerful, true love teenage stories. I was really unsatisfied as a reader where you got these big true love things in paranormal, and like they were made for each other, like literally made for each other. My son God. And I was like, and I love those books, but I love this, you know, the realism of contemporary, and you know, my favorite authors were mostly contemporary, and it's like, well, what if I just take Edward Cullen and I make him a real boy?
My first book was about parents dying and leaving a message on a tray table, and none of that is true. My second book is about hypnosis, and I don't know how to hypnotize anyone, so I would have to say that the main concepts of my books, you know, I think a lot of people assume that there's autobiographical material in novels, and really there's not. I just have like a really crazy imagination.
Do you not steal like small things? I steal stuff from everyone.
The one scene that was autobiographical was in my first book, Lipstick Apology, and it was a date scene, and it was kind of like a horrible date scene where this guy, she's hung the moon, and the waitress starts flirting with him, and they're just flirting with each other right in front of her. And it's like the most crushing experience. And that did come further along. That's why it was a vivid scene.
I hope you dumped him.
I know. Very quickly.
Then after that, I stood in line for, I think, about at least 2 hours, because I went and got Elizabeth's book signed, and then I stepped into Stephanie Perkins' line, and oh my gosh, there were so many people. But I was so like happy for Stephanie, because like she's such a new author. Like her book just came out like less than a year ago. I guess it was November. But I'll link all the awesome people that I met below, and all the people that I saw again this weekend, and just all that stuff. They're really great people, and people that I just want to hang out with all the time. And in November, there's this thing called Y'all Fest in South Carolina. I think it's in Charleston, and I want to go to that. And so, if you're going to that, tell me. If not, tell me who of all these people that I've been talking about, who's your favorite author of these YA people? And if you got to go to a book festival, which one would you go to? That is all. I hope you have a great day and keep reading.